Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've got a lot of breaking updates today. So the first news is coming from Russia and Japan. So we've got news that a Russian II-38 patrol planes have reportedly violated Japanese airspace several times. The Japanese media reported that Russian planes entered Japanese airspace about 3 times for about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Japan stated that it scrambled fighters jets like the F-15 and the F-35 jets to try and deter these Russian II-38 patrol planes out of Japanese airspace. We've also gotten videos and news that Russia's aviation presence in Japan, around Japan, is growing with these footages here. So you can see these Su-35 jets have reportedly been doing exercises near, obviously, the Sea of Japan and near Japan. So I'll keep you updated if anything else happens here. We've also got news coming from the Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ravkov. So he stated that Russia will conduct nuclear tests only if the Americans do so. So Moscow may conduct nuclear tests, but it will not if the US refrains from them. The nuclear test sites throughout Russia are ready for this response. So Russia will only conduct nuclear tests if the Americans do it. And we've also got news coming from the Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov. He stated that the Kremlin will study the plan of the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky. So he's talking about the victory plan, which we'll be talking about a bit later in this video. So the Kremlin will study the plan of the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky's, if it is available in official sources. However, for Russia, there is no alternative to victory in the war in Ukraine, so the special military operation, he states, according to the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov. We've got some news, some gun news, that the latest developments of the RPL-20 machine gun chambered in 45 to 39 cartridges. I believe that's right. I'm not really good with cartridges. Has been completed. We are expecting it in the troops. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner, this is Russia's latest light machine gun. So it's the RPL-20 light machine gun. And I'll keep you updated if it starts seeing a bit of action. But right now, that's all the news we've gotten from that. We've also got news coming from Kazakhstan that the Soyuz MS-25 cosmonauts have returned to Earth. The Soyuz MS-25 spacecraft carrying Russian cosmonaut Oleg Konosenko and the Nikolai Shub and the American astronaut Tracy Dyson landed in Kazakhstan after returning from the International Space Station. So Konosenko has become the first person to have spent more than 1,000 days in total in space, while the crew broke the record for the longest single mission to the International Space Station at 374 days. So the crew has safely landed in Kazakhstan, and I'll keep you updated on that. We've also gotten a little bit of news coming from Ukraine, and we'll talk a lot about Ukraine at the end of the video, but Chinese-made armoured vehicles have apparently been spotted in Ukraine. A Chinese-made Tiger 424 armoured vehicles supplied by Russia to its forces in Ukraine have been seen on the battlefield, according to reports by Miltia. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner, the ZFB 05 Zhizk vehicles, also known as the Tiger, were spotted in use by Russian troops on the battlefield, showcasing a new level of foreign military equipment supported for Moscow's ongoing campaign in Ukraine. So if you can see here, this is apparently Chinese military equipment, and it has found itself in Russian arms and Russian hands, and they're using it actively against the Ukrainians. We've got some news coming from Denmark that the Prime Minister of Denmark believes that Ukraine's allies should stop hesitation to support the country in its fight and allow the use of provided weapons to strike against Russia. She stated that during this war, it would be a huge mistake to have a public discussion about red lines because that would only give the Russians too good of a trump card, she said. So that is stated by her. We've also got news coming from the German auto company. So the German auto industry is apparently in crisis after the economy minister to hold emergency talks. So the German economy minister, Robert Habeck, will meet with automakers amid threat of a mass layoff and plant closures at Volkswagen. Up to 30,000 jobs are expected to be cut, although Volkswagen itself denies this. Habeck, however, notes that the main responsibility lies with the companies themselves. The auto industry is struggling due to the transition to electric vehicles and declining sales in China. So this was apparently stated by the economy minister of Germany. So I'll keep you updated on that. We've also got on some news. So this is completely off rails here, but in the Czech Republic, there is a proposal to ease the restrictions on cannabis. So currently 5 cannabis plants or 10 grams of dried materials are considered a large quantity, which falls under criminal charges, while possession of smaller amounts is treated as a misdemeanor. Now the Czech Ministry of Justice proposes that the line between a misdemeanor and the criminal offence should be drawn at the cultivation of more than 5 plants. On the other hand, growing up to 3 cannabis plants would be no longer to be considered an offence. Additional individuals would be allowed to legally store up to 50 grams of dried cannabis at home, 25 grams outside. The planned legalization applies only to individuals aged 21 or older. Very interesting news, and I'll keep you updated on that. We've also gotten some pretty sad news coming from Greece, well, around Greece and the islands. So migrants' boats sink off Greek coast, leaves 3 dead and more than 25 missing. The Greek Coast Guard said that it has rescued 5 migrants, while a search and rescue operation involving 4 Coast Guard ships and a helicopter continues off the rocky shores of this island here, so this one here. According to the UN, nearly 30,000 migrants have arrived in Greece since the start of the year, and most of them from Afghanistan, Syria, and Egypt. So, very interesting news. So, we've got news that the migrant boat sinks off the Greek shores. So I'll keep you updated on that. We've also gotten some news of severe floodings in this exact French city here. So if you can see here in your bottom left corner, severe floodings hits this city here in France. Streams of water carry cars and rubbish through the city. So if you can just see here in your bottom left corner, we can just see the absolute extreme flooding, what's going on. So I'll keep you updated on that if anything else happens. We've got some news coming from Burkina Faso. So the Prime Minister of Burkina Faso, during a meeting with the Russian ambassador, requested the possibility of joining BRICS to combat the domination of the dollar and the euro, the government reports. So the reports are Burkina Faso has a big interest in joining BRICS, and they'll probably be meeting at the Kazan meeting that will be coming up in October. We've also got news that almost 30,000 suspected monkeypox cases in Africa this year. Nearly 30,000 suspected monkeypox cases has been reported in Africa so far this year, most of them in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where they were about 29,342 suspected cases and 812 deaths across Africa from January to September 15th this year, according to the World Health Organization reports. More than 800 people died suspected of monkeypox across the continent. In that time, the UN health body said that its reports of the Congo's Central African neighbor has also been hit with a growing outbreak, it added. So, More reports on monkeypox, and apparently the Republic of the Congo is experiencing an outbreak of this virus. So I'll keep you updated on that. And let's go to Israel, where we've got news that the Israeli Cabinet of Ministers is currently voting on whether to declare a special situation on the home front. So that's what it's called, the special situation on the home front across the entire country. So I'm not sure what the special situation on the home front means, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably get the meaning of it pretty soon. But we've got news that the Israeli Air Force begins its fifth wave of strikes on Lebanon. The senior IDF commanders have declared full readiness for a ground operation against Hezbollah, so Lebanon. The Israeli Defense Forces has launched a preemptive offensive operations and striking Hezbollah's military infrastructure, which the group has been building up for 20 years, the IDF General Staff reported. According to official information, about half of Hezbollah's missile capabilities have been destroyed, according to Israel. So, there you go. We've also got news coming from all these strikes. A lot of people have died. The death toll from Israeli strikes on southern Lebanon has risen to 492 emergency centers has reported. So 492 people have been killed, including 35 children and 58 women, in the ongoing Israeli bombardment throughout southern Lebanon. So I'll keep you updated on that. And yesterday we talked about how Lebanese citizens now receive calls from the IDF to evacuate their homes. So now this is actually serious, so it's true. So we've got news that the Israeli government are now contacting civilians in southern Lebanon to evacuate now. So, and this also comes with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, recorded a video urging residents of southern Lebanon to move, to flee to safer spots in northern Lebanon due to the Hezbollah military being in these near these resident buildings, and these will be a legal strike target. So it seems that the residents of Lebanon have taken this very seriously, and we've gotten here in the bottom left corner, we can just see the evacuation of people in southern Lebanon fleeing, reportedly to some are saying Syria, out of the country, just to neighbourly countries, and just fleeing north to the country. So if you can just see here in the bottom left corner, huge crowds, huge people are fleeing from southern Lebanon. We've also got news for since the first time since 2006, the Lebanese war. Hezbollah fires missiles directly to the city of, I think I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but Haifa. So this city right here. So for the first time since the 2006 Lebanon war, Hezbollah fires missiles directly towards the Haifa city. So about 300,000 Israelis enter shelters, reported by the IDF. So it seems that the situation in the Middle East continues to escalate. Now we've got some news coming from Tehran that Tehran announced that it will soon respond to Israel for the July 31st assassination of Hamas chief leader Ismail, the head of the Iran's Supreme Leader Office stated. So if we guys remember way back, we did lots of videos about this, how Iran and Turkey blamed Israel for the death of Ismail, the chief of Hamas. So he died in an apartment in Tehran, and now Iran is apparently still got the objective to strike Israel because of this, but I'll keep you updated on that. We've also got news coming from the Chinese military operations in this desert here. So in Xinjiang, so this desert here, this kind of state, footage, the Chinese military has released some footage showing the army regiments from the Chinese army in the Xinjiang district in this desert here. So they're conducting a large-scale refueling process of the military equipment in the field. So the refueling was carried out in a single line, in two parallel lines, and in a circle. So they're just doing just small military exercises, it seems, in this region. We're also gonna poke our heads into South America really quickly, where the Argentinian justice system has just ordered the international arrest and capture of the leader of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, and other high-ranking officials in the Venezuelan government. So Nicolas Maduro, he held an election not so long ago, and a lot of people say this election was fraud. So they completely rigged it, and he is a legitimate president. But now the Argentinian justice system has just ordered the international arrest of Nicolas Maduro. So I will keep you updated of what his response will be. Now let's go into probably the biggest news coming today. So now we've got news that the UN meetings have started, so we'll get more news of this in tomorrow's video. But we've got news that Zelensky visited and landed in New York in a C-17 plane. So first he visited an artillery 155mm factory. So he held some speeches, he talked to the workers, and then next he held his speech at the UN. So in his speech at the Future Summit, the President Zelensky emphasized the world's need for a peaceful future and stable development. He announced preparations for a second peace summit, advancing step by step with partners according to the peace formula. Zelensky invited all leaders and nations to continue supporting their joint efforts for a just and peaceful future, asserting that although Putin has stolen much, he has never been able to steal the world's future, said Zelensky. So after his UN meeting, his speech, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in New York to discuss the current situation on the front lines and future strategies for Ukraine's energy generation. So we're going to be talking about a lot in energy for a little bit and issues with Ukrainian energy. They also focus on Ukraine's EU accession process, with Zelensky emphasizing that Ukraine has met the necessary requirements for negotiating to begin to access the European Union for Ukraine. Zelensky also expressed gratitude for Scholz for his continual support and highlighted the opportunity to further strengthen Ukrainian-German relations. Scholz also confirmed in this meeting that he does not support easing the restrictions on Ukraine's use of German weapons to strike Russian territory. He stated that the German government made several decisions regarding the military support to Ukraine, which are very clear to me. Among them is the commitment that Germany will not lift the restrictions on weapons being fired on deep inside Russia. Now we had news after the German meeting. Zelensky also met with the Japanese Prime Minister. So Zelensky stated that restoring our energy sectors after the Russian shelling and preparing for winter are the tasks we are actively working on. Together with the Prime Minister of Japan, we discussed the situation in the energy sector. Thank you for the new energy assistance, said Zelensky, that Japan is giving to Ukraine. And Zelensky also thanked Japan for supporting Ukraine and the Ukrainians from the beginning of the war in Ukraine. We've also, the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated that the upcoming winter in Ukraine will be challenging, and the US and its allies are focused on preparing the country's energy system to meet these difficulties. So everyone is now stating, all of it, Ukraine's allies are now stating that Ukraine is going to have a very tough winter, but that's not the only news we've gotten from the UN meeting. So Fusic, the Serbian president, also attended the On the sidelines of the UN General Assembly, President of president of Serbia met with the Russia's parliament representative. So if you can see here in the bottom left corner, so the Russian representatives met with the Serbian president, and the Serbian president gave them all gifts. And the last kind of sideline meeting we got is the Prime Minister of India met with the Palestinian leader at the sidelines of the UN. So they exchanged views on further strengthening long-lasting friendship with the people of Palestine and the Indian people, stated the Indian Prime Minister on X. So we'll get more news about the UN meeting and sidelines later, but that's all the news I actually have for you today. I am Non-C News. I'll try and provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider subscribing and liking. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.